Well, legends, where are the young nomads off to and up to right now? Well, I'm going to get into that in a moment. Hope you enjoyed the last episode. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell and like so you get notifications. We really appreciate and value all your support, but more importantly, we're loving sharing with families and people who have travel and exploration interests of our great journey around Australia and our live free mentality. If you've got any questions about this episode or previous episodes, drop them in the comments below. We'd love to absolutely hear from you. We'll always get back to you guys, but again, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for all your support. It's so awesome connecting with so many families on the road that are doing what we are doing, fulfilling their life dream, getting back to basics, spending more time with their loved ones, their kids, their families, and just getting out in nature, because Australia, Mother Nature absolutely knows best. Anyway, where are we? We're at a place called Aurora Station. We've moved a little bit further north up the WA coast. We're about an hour south of Coral Bay. The campsite that we're at is called Sandy Point. I'll show you that campsite a little bit later. Really cool campsite, nice big large sites. You're literally 50 meters and under to this beautiful shoreline. It was $19 a night for 2 adults and a child, $15 if it's just you 2 adults, so really affordable. The online booking system's not really enjoyable or fun to deal with, but when you can get a site you can get in, you just got to make it happen. So what are we aiming to do here at Aurora Station, Sandy Point? We're here for about 5 nights. Well, I've got the fishing attire on, obviously, so we're aiming to do a bit of fishing. I've finally got the tinny down, absolutely frothing to get the tinny in the water, because it's been quite some time since I've dropped the tinny into the water. We're going to do some fishing, aiming to get out wide. You can probably see out the back there's a bit of an inlet. The reason being, there's this massive reef that runs along this coastline out the back there for quite a distance. So got to go through that inlet pending swell and conditions to get out further for those bigger pelagics. I really want to get onto a Spanish mac trawling, absolutely, but we're also going to do some fishing in close. You know, there's Spangle Emperors in close that we're aiming to get, I'm sure. There's also cool snorkeling in here. One of the things that reef provides is added protection on the inside, so we'll get the tinny on the inside for fishing, but we'll also drop in and do some snorkeling in and around here as well. This place is synonymous for turtles. Now, if they're here, they're here. If they're not, they're not. If they're here, absolutely we'll jump in with them and show you them if we see them. And then we'll just show you around Aurora Station, Sandy Point as a whole. We're again here traveling with some friends, Frank, Tracy and the girls. Loving touring with those guys. The girls are getting on like a house on fire, so are the mums and dads. We're having an absolute ball. And then we'll show you a bit of the track in. We've had a bit of water, so a lot of track closures of late. We came in the Aurora Station North Road, I think it is. The East Road's closed, which didn't make it too enjoyable for Frank and Tracy getting down to the lagoon. Their site's about another hour further south from us. Then from here we're heading up north for another 4 nights at a place called The Ridge. So we'll share that with you. But anyway, that's enough about that. Let's get to it. Sandy Point, Aurora Station. Let's do it. Yo. All right, as you can see, we've arrived at Sandy Point. Not a too bad drive in. We came off of the North Road in, not the East. Somewhat washed out corrugation. We've had a bit of water here lately, but down at 25 psi, no problems. We got a 24-foot van, so there's a little hill section as you come up to Sandy Point. It just gets a little bit tight and narrow. But anyway, here we go, Sandy Point. We'll get set up, we'll get the tinny off, and we'll show you in and around Sandy Point, and then eventually onto the ridges. Okay, so there's no doubt about it, when you're off grid, the most critical thing in terms of being able to stay off grid longer, but obviously from a #1 importance factor, is water. Now, whilst we have 300 litres of onboard water on the caravan and 60 litres inside the car, we like to try and stay off grid as much as possible. The longer we can be off grid, the more affordable and the greater destinations and spots you get to see, like this at Sandy Point we're at. Anyway, I just wanted to share with you, we've had literally overnight probably, I don't know, 20, 30 mils of rain, maybe even more so. So I emptied out this tub that we've got here. I think it's a, let me have a look here. It's a 54 litre tub. Now normally that carries all our boating gear in the back of the caravan, but last night I thought, you know what, I'm going to empty it out and I'm going to capture this water into the tub. Now what I've got is I've got a little 12-volt pump. I've just got that pump off eBay pretty much. That's obviously where it sucks in the water inlet. I've put on there a little bit of plastic piping myself to a tap fitting hose, and then obviously that just fits on to the outlet nozzle. It's all run by Anderson plug. Now this didn't come with Anderson. Initially it came with, you know, your normal battery terminal alligator type clips, but I snipped it and I put it onto Anderson plug, and then that cable that I've got here runs into the back of the car, and it's also the cable that I use for that solar blanket over there as well. So double use, dual purpose, same cable, but you'll see here, now I've got it running onto the little nozzle that we use to fill up the caravan when we're at a fuel point. Sorry, I should say water fill up point. This one's got a switch on off. There you see, there you go, we're on. So you can just see here folks, by having an extra 50 odd litres thereabouts, it's just going to buy you another day or two here or there. So put water to good use when it's raining, use it to your advantage, capture it, recycle it, reuse it. Now the only question we might get, and drop it in the comments if this is one of your questions, because I know it's Mel's question, is how clean is the water? Well, firstly, it's rainwater. Secondly, it's being filtered on the way in, and we've got filters in the caravan obviously, so there's 3 lots of filtration points before it actually becomes drinkable water. Obviously if you separate it from your tanks and you isolate it from your drinking water to your shower and toilet water, that's an option as well, but for me, rainwater is as fresh as it gets. But anyway, there's a little hot tip. When it's raining, if you're off grid, capture as much water as possible, reuse it, get it back into your van or your car. It's gold. Hope you enjoyed that sunset, legends. It doesn't get any better than that. Western Australia coastline turning on. There's just something really special about the sunsets here in Western Australia. Firstly, the sun just feels bigger over this side of the coast, but secondly, the colours, how they just continue to evolve. It seems the sun absolutely in that last sort of 10 minutes drops really quickly, but the evolution in the colours you see behind me as the sun drops below the horizon just seem to lift up and pop higher. All those beautiful oranges, those purples and blues that you can see behind me, and there's just this like massive aura on the horizon once the sun drops below the horizon. But anyway, we've got another little tip. Now we've moved campsite. Behind us we've moved to the ridge, which I'll share with you. Not as good as where we were at Sandy Point. That was one epic spot, but we had to move. Unfortunately, we could only get that for 5 days. We're here for 3 days. I'll show you this site as well. It's a completely different site. It's not a real beach site, hence why it's called the ridge. But I just wanted to show you a quick little tip that I do. I'm just about to drill a hole through my tow ball for the trailer because I've got a .35 hitch for the caravan. So for those that know .35, so that's the locking pin there. But for the boat trailer, I've just got a standard tow ball, which I'll show you in a moment. But what I've done on the .35 hitch, you'll see I've drilled a hole out there. And the reason being is to put this circle pin through and secure it in spot, okay? Corrugation, this stuff can come undone. It's just a standard bolt, it's not a nylon knot by any means, but I haven't had time to do it on the tow ball hitch for the boat trailer. So you'll see here, that's the standard tow ball hitch. I just interchange them. I've cut the length of the screw-on part because they were quite a lot longer and you'd be forever threading on trying to interchange it. So I've shortened that a little bit, but I'm just going to drill a hole in through there so I can do the same for this one here, because as you can see, the dirt roads behind us and around us, a lot of corrugation, and with corrugation creates movement, and with movement, the last thing you want doing is that nut coming undone off the only connection point you've got between you, your car, and potentially your boat or your caravan. So just another little extra safety mechanism. Call it over engineering, whatever you want to, but it's something that I do on every tow ball hitch that I own. I hadn't done the tinny one because that was on the to-do list, but I thought, great chance, got the tinny off, let's get into it. So I'm only probably three turns up on the thread. You can see now, I can use that same pin when I change over from the caravan tow ball hitch to the boat one now. And again, it's just going to stop that bolt from corrugation if it comes undone, because it doesn't matter how tight you do these up, on corrugation, they've always got a chance of coming undone. Just a little tip anyway, hopefully it helps you travel safer on the road. Morning everyone. Well, we headed out for a day yesterday and we got some epic content, and we actually got onto a fish as well. We caught a metre 10 barracuda, and it was a great day out, nice and calm, sun was out, beautiful day. As I was coming back in, lost the GoPro off the GoPro mount on the tinny. Down she went. So I motored around for about 10 minutes trying to locate it. We're only in about 4 meters of water, it's pretty clear, but couldn't find it. So I don't know how many hours of content that I've lost on that GoPro, probably about a week's worth, but such is life. That's the risk you take when you're adventuring as we are. Okay, so another real advantage of having the little 12-volt pump to transfer water is when you get in situations like this, we've run out of water in the caravan, but we've still got water in the car. So we've been about 8 days off grid. The girls have done tremendously well. We've got one more night, but you'd still like to have some water in the caravan as more priority than in the car, because things like flushing the toilet, brushing your teeth, all that good stuff we like to do to keep hygienic is more important. So I'm going to show you how I've got it set up for the car transfer. So as you would have seen previously, that's the 12-volt pump, the sucker itself. Alrighty, so I'm just going to drop it into the bottom of my tank here in the back of the car. I've got a 60-litre tank. Bear with my rear end here while I do this. Just drop that all the way in. Cool. That is in. And as I said, I've got an Anderson plug here that just plugs into the back of the car there. It's my Anderson plug. Simple as that. Okay. So we'll fire up the car, turn the pump on. Power, baby. All right, we've got ignition. That pump should start. Fire. Beautiful. And then what I've done here for the girls, because They love filtered water. I've got an inline universal caravan water filter there, even though my tank in the car has a filter that filters the water. So there's 2 filters before it goes into the tank, and then there's obviously filtration system inside the caravan. But pretty much activate. Here she comes. We got water. So transferring from the car into the caravan. Now I don't know how much is in the car, unfortunately, because I don't have a reader, which I'd love to get, but I ran out of time. So if anyone sees this in Exmouth, is where we're going to be, can hook me up. That'd be great, so I can have how many litres are on board in the car. But obviously the old sound until we run out and we're bone dry and empty. But there you go, transferring from the car into the caravan. It'll probably give us, I reckon there's probably about 30-35 litres of water on board there. Just give us that extra night. Plus small things. I've got to pack the tinny away. I've got to rinse the outboard engine out as well, so I can run the water from the pump in the van to rinse the outboard engine before I load that up on top of the rooftop loader. So if you've got any questions about this setup, drop down below. Very straightforward, simple, as I said, cheap yet very effective eBay product. Drop them in the comments.
Yeah!
Okay, folks, so behind us a completely different backdrop. We've had an interesting week, the Young Nomads on tour. So I've lost my second GoPro. To put it simply, we have lost the second GoPro on tour. We've lost pretty much half an episode of what we were showing you before here of Sandy Point. All the fishing that I was doing, all the snorkeling, all the swimming, all the fun stuff, gone. So without further ado, we finished our time at Sandy Point. Sorry I couldn't show and share more of it with you, but when you lose a GoPro, there's nothing you can do. Anyway, we came into Coral Bay and our week got a little bit more interesting. We booked in there for 5 days, 4 nights. We got to the caravan park and unfortunately, we booked the wrong caravan park. When we got into the reception, said to the lady, we've got a booking. She said, you're not booked in here. We showed her the booking and unfortunately we had booked back down at Carnarvon Caravan Park, which we'd already been that way and we didn't want to head 380 k's further south to where we've already come from. So anyway, without further ado, we tried to get in Coral Bay. We couldn't get in there. School holidays here in WA just started. Everywhere was booked out for the next 2 weeks, solid. We got an overflow camp for the night. We literally came off of Sandy Point into Coral Bay with nothing, no food, no water, limited supplies. So we got an overflow site for the night. We stocked up, fueled up, tried to book in. We couldn't get anywhere on that peninsula from Coral Bay through to Exmouth within about a 450 kilometre radius because of school holidays. So we had the home on wheels but nowhere to park it. So we ended up booking where we are right now, Karratha. So we've shot north 450 odd k's, about 5 hours, because it was the only place we could get a caravan park to be on grid for a little while, to top up, fuel up and get supplies. So we've just had the last few days to bunker down, relax, get reset up, and then we're going to hit the road and go off grid again for another week as we make our way back down towards Exmouth. We've got the whale shark dive on the 16th. We've also booked the manta ray dive, which we'll share with you guys a few days after that. And we've managed to get into a number of cool spots down that way, including a big station stay at Garalia Station as well, which we're looking forward to. But anyway, this episode didn't go as intended in showing you all around Sandy Point, but I'll share with you what I've got remaining of the content, and then I'll share with you a little bit here of Karratha. We just headed out to Murrajong National Park, I think it's known as, for a little bit of a day trip exploration to have a look around there. And I'm going to have a little bit of a flick as well, see if we can get some mangrove jack, maybe a threadfin salmon or two. Might be the odd optimistic barramundi, but it is not their season at the moment, and maybe even the odd trevally anyway. So 2 parts to this episode, but the show goes on, folks. The show goes on. And in other good news though, we've had our rear screen fixed, windows all replaced, so we've got the screen back on. So happy days. Anyway, part 2, Sandy Point to Karratha, into the national park. Here we go. So we've just pulled up to Hearson's Cove, and well, the wind's definitely on for the kite surfers. There's heaps of kite surfers out here. I'll put the window down and show you. Cool to come and watch and see them. There's a fair few. How many did you say? There's probably a dozen of them out there.
Yeah.
So wind not good for a fisherman, but epic for the kite surfers. Anyway, I'll open the window and show you. Just bear with the wind though. It's blowing a gale on shore too. So where we're at before at that cove is actually out of sight of the Murrajuga, if that's how you pronounce it. Apologies if I got it wrong. Murrajuga National Park, that's outside of it, but we've just come into it. You pretty much get down to the end of, hang on, I'll tell you the road here in a second. Pretty much you go right to the end where the gas plant is, and you head into Whitnall Bay, and then you can keep driving through there, and there's all this sort of shaly rock stuff, which we've gone down to 20 psi, but it's not too bad, it's not too sharp. Now I'll just flip the camera around and see what we're going through. So we're just trying to get down a bit lower into the flats here, find a flat landing somewhere among the mangroves for a bit of lunch and a flick. So yeah, not too bad. No one in here though yet so far. But it's not like your traditional national park where you expect the black stuff, tar all the way, and this is like off-roading into the national park. But the good thing is, it's free entry. So nothing explored, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Alright, so we've just pulled up here. I came across here, and as I did, I seen either a flatty or a threadfin. There it is there, in the shallows just here. So we'll get a lure in front of it. Alright, so we've just pulled up to this spot here where we've got some gaps between the mangroves and the rocks. So I'm just going to work this ground up and down through here in between the mangroves. Got a bib diver on this time, we'll try that and then we'll see how that goes. Might flick it over to a soft plastic, but that's it there. Only a small bib diver, shallow diver. Go on the gold and the black. Gonna work this ground all up and down through here. Just had a threadfin salmon chase me in the shallows here. Not taking the lure though, so might have to change colour soon. Haven't had a hit, man. Yeah, I've gone slightly different coloured bib diver. Gone the Floody Rat 2. This one dives a bit deeper, a bit smaller, and different colours as well to the one I was using before, the brown, the orange and the black. Just moved here a little bit. Bit of a ledge drop off there, bit of structure through here as well. It's just about doing the time, working your ground. Gotta watch out, this stuff's super slippery. Oh. Right, let's get it over that ledge there. Big boulder just there. Might have to swap over the lures. This one goes a bit too deep for here. There we go. Good little point here. All right, legends, well, that wraps up this episode. No fish this time around. First time in about a week I've had a chance to wet a line. No bent rods, unfortunately, buckled over, but that's the nature of the beast. But yeah, interesting episode. Not as much cool content as we really were hoping to share with you, particularly with Sandy Point. After Sandy Point, we stayed at the Ridge, which we've got some content of that, but like I said, I lost almost half to 3/4 of the content at Sandy Point. Fishing, getting onto sharks, getting onto barracuda, all the good stuff. GoPro 7, blink into the drink as I was coming back in through the inlet there from the reef, from going out wide. Yeah, just had the GoPro mount on the tinny, but it still let go, unfortunately. So them's are the learnings. I've just bought myself a head mount for my GoPro, so I'm going to wear that on the head. Just give a different perspective from the chest plate that I've got, the chest mount. So yeah, so sorry about the content this time around, but two parts to the episode. Little bit of Aurora Station, Sandy Point to the Ridge, and then now here to Karratha. A little sneak peek. We're going to be coming back here. We're checking out tomorrow. Like I said, we're just here for a week to bunker down, get supplies, restock up, refuel up, re-water up. Then we've got about a week and a half going off grid just because of the school holiday situation, as I said. So we'll probably duck up a little bit north, about half an hour from here for maybe a night or two, and then we're going to try and make our way back inland a couple of hours to Panawanika, and then we're going to make our way back up towards Exmouth Way, because we've got about 2 to 3 weeks at minimum that we want to spend there before we start to head back to Tom Price, Carragini, and then eventually back up to Karratha, Port Hedland, and obviously broom as well. But if you haven't already, thanks for the support. Make sure you subscribe, smash that bell and like button so you get all the notifications of all the cool stuff we want to share with you guys and girls. Again, if you've got any questions, drop them in the comments below. Hopefully you found useful some of the tips I shared with you about being able to transfer water when off grid, just to buy you those few extra days. So hopefully the tips were more useful in this episode than the content itself due to the lost GoPro. But whatever you do, live free, legends. See you on the next episode. Bye for now. Yo.